The U.S. government wants to cut off crypto's access to banks. This is a scripted, planned ploy to take down or otherwise control cryptocurrency.
All right, a bombshell report tonight about how Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and her office coordinated testimony with the Securities and Exchange Commission ahead of a Senate hearing.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Crypto companies may soon find themselves deprived of banking services in the United States, just like online poker was during the Obama era. This is according to Nick Carter. Castle Island general partner Nick Carter believes the crypto industry is under attack by the United States government. In a Substack post published the other day, Carter claimed that the Biden administration was currently, quote, using the banking sector to organize a sophisticated, widespread crackdown against the crypto industry by discouraging banks from doing business with crypto companies.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
According to Carter, the government's approach replicates a strategy employed by the Obama administration.
Thank you.
Named Operation Choke Point, which sought to marginalize specific industries by restricting their access to banking. Impacted industries included the online poker industry, firearms manufacturers, adult entertainers, lotteries, and money transfer networks. With regards to the cryptocurrency space, Carter listed 14 instances in the last 10 weeks in which crypto-friendly banks had faced pressure from the government or had otherwise elected to stop providing services to crypto companies. He claimed that influential members of Congress, the Federal Reserve, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the Office of Comptroller of Currency and the Department of Justice were all implicated in what he called Operation Choke Point 2.0. Notable among these events were statements made by the Fed, the FDIC, the OCC, and the National Economic Council strongly discouraging banks from holding crypto or dealing with crypto clients on a safety and soundness basis. The U.S. government is going for the approach of attacking and punishing crypto rather than creating clear guidelines for this budding industry. So why isn't the U.S. government helping us? Why are they punishing us? It's because Bitcoin and crypto are an existential crisis and a direct threat to those in power and the status quo as it is. CEO of two crypto companies, Adam B. Levine, and host of Markets Daily podcast, explains this.
What it really comes down to is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency represents a threat to the US dollar. It doesn't represent a threat in the short term. It represents an existential threat in the more medium term when the US dollar inevitably has to restart its system because the way that things are going are not sustainable and they will not continue if history is any guide.
What if I told you that this was all scripted? Would you believe me? What if I told you that the theater that they put on TV, it's just that, it's theater, and the questions and the answers have already been planned. They make it look like it's off the cuff, but it's not. It's orchestrated. Example, Congresswoman Elizabeth Warren and SEC Chair Gary Gensler, their scripted ploy to control crypto.
All right, a bombshell report tonight about how Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and her office coordinated testimony with the Securities and Exchange Commission ahead of a Senate hearing. The Heritage Foundation Oversight Project, of which I'm associated, through a FOIA request, obtained emails from Warren's office to the office of Chairman Gary Gensler 2 days before his Senate testimony back in September of 2021. The email from Warren's economic policy advisor includes a list of questions. Get this, a list of questions that Senator Warren planned to ask, along with suggested answers for the chairman of the SEC. The advisor also wrote, quote, "Let me know if you're okay with the questions as currently written." 2 days later, she sent a follow-up, quote, "Let me know if it's looking like the chair has any issue with the framing of the questions. Definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot," end quote. And it appears the chairman didn't have any issue with these questions because Senator Warren asked almost verbatim from the email. Check this out.
Chair Gensler, Advocates say crypto markets are all about financial inclusion, but the people who are most economically vulnerable are the ones who are most likely to have to withdraw their money the fastest when the market drops. Does this sound like the path to financial inclusion to you?
It's all scripted. It's all planned. And actually, if you look into it, to almost any previous past conversation between, again, let's say Elizabeth Warren and SEC Chair Gary Gensler, notice how she compliments him. Notice how she has the questions ready to go. Gary has the answers ready to go.
Senator Warren from Massachusetts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Mr. Gensler. I remember your work at the CFTC, and I anticipate that you will show the same independence and courage as head of the SEC. So, as you know, the SEC's job is to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation. But it is falling down on the job. And so, since we're limited for time, I'm just going to pick 3 examples. The SEC is not requiring companies to make full public disclosure about climate-related risks. The SEC is letting companies leave their investors in the dark about predatory private equity practices. And as GameStop recently demonstrated, the SEC stands by while the stock market too often functions like a casino where the roulette tables aren't on the level. So let me go back through these. Let me start with climate risk. Mr. Gensler, is there any reason why companies should be able to hide their climate risks from their investors?
Senator, no. I think that particularly materiality is a point here, but no, they should not be able to hide their.
Okay, good. Now let me go to private equity.
It's always like this, narrative versus reality. The SEC says their job is to protect investors, but if that's so, where are the rules?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this comes back to what we always see from the political space, which is narrative versus reality. The narrative is that the SEC's role is to protect investors. The reality is that if they wanted to protect investors, they would have given us rules that would have been tailored to the technology rather than just trying to essentially use rules that they don't have to explain or justify to anybody because they were already passed for other purposes.
So how far behind are we? What needs to happen to be ahead of new innovation in the crypto space in America? Oh, look, an adult in the room. Former SEC Chair Harvey Pitt makes corrupt regulator Gary Gensler look like a clown. Gary Gensler is trying to slow crypto down to allow the banking incumbents to take control. He's not trying to protect retail investors.
So how far behind are we in regulating crypto, and what needs to take place in order for us to finally kind of be ahead of any type of new innovation that comes within the space?
I think what's required is a comprehensive set of rules of the road. It's no use in telling people you have to follow the law if they don't know what the law is. Most people will try and follow the law, but they need to know what it is. And so doing this on a piecemeal basis, case by case with enforcement actions, doesn't really get us to where we need to be, which is a comprehensive regulatory scheme.
So what exactly should the SEC be figuring out when it comes to crypto? See, what I like is that this former SEC chair, Harvey Pitt, makes it sound so simple, makes it sound so easy. And it could be.
Harvey, what would be some of the aspects to that comprehensive plan?
Well, first, I think you have to designate someone to be in charge. At today's hearings, some folks are suggesting the SEC do the job, and that may make great sense. But whoever does it has to sit down and come up with rules of the road that explain everything from how you offer interests in these marketplaces, how you protect investors, how you verify assets and make sure that people are not being scammed. When they are scammed, obviously, you have to throw the book at them, but you need a book first, and that's what's missing right now.
We're going to have to fight for fair cryptocurrency regulations. We're going to have to get loud. Subscribe to the channel, join the Altcoin Daily team. We keep you updated on a daily basis. And perhaps the biggest takeaway for me is this.
It's a big club, And you ain't in it. It's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Get your tickets to Bitcoin 2023 Miami, May 18th through 20th, Miami Beach this year. Use code Altcoin Daily, 10% off. This is the biggest Bitcoin conference of the year. Ticket prices continue to increase as we get closer to the event. Use code Altcoin Daily, 10% off. Get your tickets now. Get your tickets to NFTLA/Outer Edge March 20th through March 23rd. We'll be there. We'll be on some panels. This is one of my favorite crypto conferences in LA, maybe the best. And to find out why it's so cool, we interviewed the founders. Check it out, the #1 best crypto event in Los Angeles, NFTLA. Get your tickets. Check out this interview to find out more details. It's going to be epic. We'll be there.